I was just timing all of you. See how long it take all of you to get in here and give me the big hello.
Yes, you are, Daddy. Always gets his way.
Not always.
Oh, Ma, you let him walk all over you.
For the first time in nearly 50 years, Sally Struthers is publicly sharing never-before-revealed experiences from behind the scenes of All in the Family, the groundbreaking sitcom that helped reshape American television. Best known for her role as Gloria Stivic, Struthers endured years of personal tragedy and industry prejudice realities she now confirms, exposing what had once only been whispered about. With raw honesty, she reflects on a hidden side of a show beloved by millions, revealing the cost of fame and the emotional toll it took. Before lifting the curtain on her story, it's important to understand who Sally Struthers really is. Born on July 28, 1947, in Portland, Oregon, she came from a working-class family. Her father, a surgeon, abandoned the family when Sally and her sister were very young, leaving their mother, Margaret Struthers, to raise them alone while working as an accountant in a factory. Sally often described her childhood as one marked by deep feelings of abandonment, a loneliness that led her to the performing arts as a way of being seen and heard. After graduating from Grant High School in Portland, she enrolled in the prestigious Pasadena Playhouse, whose alumni included the likes of Dustin Hoffman, Gene Hackman, and Robert Preston. While most of her classmates pursued serious stage acting, Struthers stood out in comedy, thanks to her expressive face and sharp delivery. Her first major break came in the late 1960s when she appeared on television variety shows like the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour and the Tim Conway Comedy Hour. These appearances gained her early recognition in Hollywood. In 1970, she had a supporting role in the acclaimed film Five Easy Pieces opposite Jack Nicholson. Although her screen time was brief, her natural style and distinctive voice left a strong impression. Some critics even labeled her the next Goldie Hawn, a comparison Struthers rejected. In a 1972 interview, she stated, "I'm not a version of anyone. I want to be seen as myself, even if that means it takes a few more years to be given a real chance." That chance came when legendary producer Norman Lear was casting for a new sitcom based on the British show Till Death Us Do Part. Lear, the founder of Tandem Productions, was searching for someone who could portray a young American woman navigating a time of intense social change, someone both naive and sharp, independent yet family-oriented. According to CBS Records, Sally Struthers wasn't the first choice for the role of Gloria, but when she walked into the audition room, Lear was struck by her half-innocent, half-defiant presence. She landed the role after just one audition, and a pilot was taped 2 weeks later. When All in the Family premiered in January 1971, few expected it to become a cultural phenomenon. But Struthers' portrayal of Gloria resonated immediately. She embodied the voice of a new generation, caught between her conservative father Archie Bunker and her progressive husband Mike Stivic. Her performance, at once comedic, emotional, and authentic, helped drive the show's dialogue on controversial topics, from gender roles to politics. Over the course of the first 3 seasons, Struthers became one of the show's most vital figures, earning 2 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series in 1972 and 1979. Her versatility and emotional range drew in both male and female audiences, making her one of television's most beloved performers. However, as the series progressed, the role of Gloria began to diminish within the show's structure. Struthers has since expressed her disappointment at how the character was increasingly sidelined after the 3rd season. In a 2024 episode of the podcast Let's Talk About That, she opened up about the emotional complexity of playing Gloria, a character she loved, but whose legacy became a double-edged sword. What started as a career breakthrough eventually evolved into a source of creative frustration, as the balance of the show shifted and Gloria's voice was often lost in the evolving narrative. As the political and social debates between Archie and Mike became the focal point of All in the Family, Gloria gradually faded into the background. Sally Struthers, who portrayed Gloria, later revealed that she often had only 4 to 5 lines per episode, many of them repetitive, and offering little to the storyline. Critics of 1970s television noted that this marginalization mirrored industry norms of the time, where male-dominated writing rooms frequently relegated female characters to secondary roles. For Struthers, it wasn't just a script that diminished her presence, it extended to promotional events and CBS media campaigns. She was often excluded from priority guest lists and group publicity photos, which sometimes featured only Archie, Edith, and Mike, despite her being a central character. Despite this sidelining, Struthers remained professional and continued her role through the show's fifth season. However, the pressure went beyond the studio. The public viewed Gloria as a symbol of the modern, politically aware woman, outspoken and independent. As a result, Struthers found herself being asked in interviews about topics such as abortion rights and the anti-war movement, issues she felt belonged to her character, not to her personally. This public inflation of actress and role led to significant stress, especially as she increasingly felt like a mechanical piece in a larger production machine rather than a valued creative contributor. Behind the scenes, the emotional toll deepened due to strained relationships with the other cast members. Though their on-screen chemistry suggested closeness, Struthers later described feeling alienated. Carol O'Connor, who played Archie Bunker and held major influence as a co-writer, rarely engaged with her outside of filming. Unlike other cast members, she was never invited to dinners or offset gatherings. Jean Stapleton, who played Edith, was always polite and professional, but remained neutral during moments of tension and never intervened when Struthers was excluded. Their relationship, according to Struthers, was built on mutual respect but lacked genuine connection. Rob Reiner, who played Mike Stivic, had a close bond with show creator Norman Lear and the writing team. This created a professional divide. Struthers' creative suggestions were often dismissed, while Reiner's were given serious consideration. The production hierarchy further reinforced this divide. While others had private cars and upscale dressing rooms, Struthers sometimes had to share space with crew members. Even at press events, she was often physically positioned away from the other leads. These subtle exclusions accumulated into a profound sense of isolation. When Struthers proposed a storyline in the fourth season about Gloria returning to college, a narrative highlighting the challenges faced by women in academia, the idea was rejected for being off-tone. Ironically, a few weeks later, a similar plot was approved, this time focusing on Mike. The creative rejection and growing isolation led Struthers to describe this period between the fourth and fifth seasons as the longest days of her life, despite the short filming hours. The emotional and psychological burden she carried during this time had lasting consequences on her well-being and career outlook. Over time, Sally Struthers experienced a growing sense of disillusionment with her role in All in the Family and her place within the creative process. She not only felt unheard by her co-stars, but also sensed a growing distance from producer Norman Lear, the very person who had given her first big break. Their once warm relationship cooled significantly, and Struthers later learned, through close colleagues, that Lear had made derogatory remarks about her appearance in a private meeting with the show's writers. These comments caused deep emotional hurt and contributed to a turning point in her career. By 1976, as the show entered its sixth season, she faced financial and legal pressure, but made the bold decision to regain control of her professional life. Struthers hired a lawyer and were prepared to spend $40,000, a substantial amount at the time, to negotiate an exit from her contract with CBS, feeling that this was the only way to reclaim her balance and dignity. Her contract, which extended through season 9, contained strict clauses and heavy penalties for unilateral termination, reflecting the broader power structure of the television industry, which was rarely sympathetic to women challenging the system. CBS responded coldly to her efforts, concerned more with preserving the show's brand during a time of stagnating viewership. Other networks, including NBC, backed away due to the legal risks tied to her contract. In that era, a female actor trying to leave a show on her own terms was viewed as unprofessional, and few were willing to support her. With no legal route out, Struthers returned to the set reluctantly and without hope. "I came back not because I wanted to continue," she once revealed, "but because I had no other choice." Ironically, in the next 3 seasons, her role as Gloria expanded significantly, growing into a deeper, more independent character, something Struthers had proposed years earlier but had been ignored. Gloria now worked at a child center and reflected the modern tension between traditional family roles and a woman's desire for self-determination. Many of the creative suggestions she and the Element brothers had once made were finally adopted, though without any official recognition, leaving her feeling creatively exploited. The emotional toll was heavy. Struthers developed chronic insomnia and signs of mild depression. She distanced herself from media, turned down public appearances, and limited social interactions within the industry. Colleagues remembered that she often left the set immediately after filming her scenes and avoided all optional internal meetings. Despite this, she remained thoroughly professional in her work, never allowing her personal struggles to impact her performance. Directors and fellow cast members respected her dedication, which helped sustain her public image and ultimately led to the creation of the spin-off Gloria. Premiering in 1982 after All in the Family ended, Gloria focused on the character's life after divorce and as a single mother. Although it attracted some loyal viewers, the show lasted only one season before being canceled due to low ratings. Commercially, it failed, but it offered a formal conclusion to the role that had defined nearly a decade of Struthers' career. From 1983 onward, she transitioned to work on Broadway, made guest appearances on television, and began to rebuild her career away from a character that had both elevated and constrained her. Though no longer in the spotlight of the entertainment industry, Sally Struthers remained committed to her artistic identity and charitable work. In the late 1980s, she attempted a return to sitcoms with a new project that included consultation from Betty White, who by then had become a television icon known for her warm public persona. What seemed like a promising collaboration instead left Struthers with one of the deepest emotional wounds of her career. During a 1990 audition for a new comedy aimed at middle-aged audiences, White, who had influence over the show's image and casting, reportedly commented on Struthers' appearance in front of the production team, saying, "I'm not sure this role fits someone with your body type." The remark, though delivered calmly, immediately altered the atmosphere on set. Struthers did not respond, quietly completing her audition and leaving in silence. She later described the moment as a devastating psychological blow that shattered her trust in kindness within the industry. What made the experience even more painful was the contrast between White's beloved public image and her private comment. Though Struthers acknowledged White's talent and legacy, she pointed out that the most damaging wounds often come from those who hide negativity behind a sweet facade. Struthers remained silent about the encounter for nearly 3 decades, speaking out only recently to Free Myself. After that incident, Struthers largely withdrew from mainstream television, focusing instead on Broadway and regional theater in states like Oregon, Massachusetts, and California throughout the 1990s and 2000s. She also became a dedicated acting coach and continued her extensive charity work, most notably as a longtime ambassador for Save the Children. In her philanthropic work, she found freedom from the superficial judgments of fame and appearance. In her personal life, Struthers married psychologist William C. Rader in 1977. Their marriage lasted 6 years and ended in divorce in 1983. They had one daughter, Samantha, who now works in creative media and keeps a low profile. Struthers never remarried, often saying that independence came at the right time to prevent her from losing her sense of self in unfulfilling relationships. In January 2024, Struthers made a rare public appearance at the memorial service for Norman Lear, the legendary producer who gave her breakout role. Though she didn't speak, her presence drew attention. Today, her estimated net worth is around $6 million, accumulated through residuals from All in the Family, guest TV roles, voice work in animated series, and commercial appearances. Though no longer a regular media presence, Struthers is still recognized as an honorary guest at theater festivals, acting conferences, and award shows. When she began revealing her behind-the-scenes experiences through interviews and podcasts, the public responded with overwhelming support. Many praised her courage, and cultural critics noted that her story reflected a larger truth about American television, where fame often coexists with silent suffering. Younger actors publicly commended her resilience and integrity, viewing her as a model of how to rise above injustice while staying true to one's artistic core. Sally Struthers' story isn't just a nostalgic look back at a golden era, it's a powerful reminder of the entertainment industry's hidden realities. Behind the glamour lies a system where silence is often a survival tactic. Now, with her truth finally told, she is no longer just Gloria from the past, she is a survivor of the very system that once defined her. What do you think, now that the full story has come to light? Leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more untold truths.